I did not expect to find myself here today sharing this story, a story that completely upended my worldview and everything I once believed in. For 20 years, I was a dedicated scientist, a respected professor of quantum physics, and above all, a staunch atheist. Science was my religion, and equations were my prayers. But everything changed on that fateful September 15th. That day, as I was driving to the university to give my usual lecture on quantum mechanics, a truck lost control. The last thing I remember is the screeching of tires and the violent impact that flipped my car. Later, the doctors told me that my heart had stopped for exactly 8 minutes and 12 seconds. 8 minutes that changed my life forever. But what happened during those 8 minutes defies all the scientific logic I had built over the years. I remember floating above my body, watching the doctors desperately trying to revive me. I heard their voices, I saw their frantic gestures, yet I felt detached, at peace. And then, suddenly, a light appeared. This light, how can I describe it? It wasn't blinding, but more intense than anything I'd ever seen. It seemed alive, pulsating, as if it contained all the energy of the universe. And in that light, I felt a presence that I would now recognize among 1,000, that of Jesus. I know what you are thinking right now. A few months ago, I might have thought the same. An oxygen deprivation hallucination, or a mental construct created by a dying mind. But what I experienced was more real than anything I had ever encountered in my life. The presence approached me, and for the first time in my life, I felt unconditional, pure, transcendent love. A love that surpassed all human understanding. Then, he began to show me things, truths that shook the very foundations of my existence. He first showed me the universe, but not as we know it through our telescopes and equations. I saw creation in all its splendor, as a privileged spectator. Galaxies danced before my eyes, stars were born and died in an instant, and everything was connected by threads of pure light that we cannot see in our dimension. What struck me most was that every equation I had taught, every theory I had defended, suddenly took on a new meaning. Quantum mechanics, relativity, string theory. All of it was but a tiny part of a much grander plan. I understood that science was not in contradiction with spirituality. It was its testimony. Jesus then showed me something that shook me to the very core of my being, the impact of each of my actions on others. Like ripples in a pond, every word, every gesture, every thought created waves of energy that affected the entire universe. I saw moments when my words as a staunch atheist had sown doubt in the minds of my students, triggering chains of consequences I had never imagined. But it wasn't a condemnation. On the contrary, it was a revelation filled with love and understanding. I saw how my quest for scientific truth, even in my denial of God, was, in reality, a search for Him. Every scientific discovery I made was like a step closer to understanding His creation. The presence then guided me to what looked like a cosmic library. The walls seemed to stretch into infinity, filled not with books, but with living light. Each volume contained the complete life of a person, not just their actions, but also their thoughts, emotions, and dreams. I saw my own life, like a film in fast forward, but with a depth I had never imagined possible. Every moment of doubt, every argument I used against the existence of God, was now illuminated by a new understanding. I realized that my scientific training, which I had thought served as a shield against religious superstition, was in fact a tool preparing me to grasp the wonders of divine creation. It was then that Jesus showed me something that definitively changed my perception of reality, the very structure of the soul. As a physicist, I had spent my life studying subatomic particles. But what I saw went beyond anything we could measure in our laboratories. The soul was not merely an abstract form of energy, but a complex matrix of living light, interconnected with all creation. He allowed me to see how our thoughts and emotions literally create energetic patterns that influence not only our own bodies, but also the environment around us. I understood why prayer and meditation have a real impact. They create harmonics that resonate through these fields of spiritual energy. During this revelation, I also saw something that deeply disturbed me, beings of light constantly surrounding us. These beings, which we commonly call angels, work tirelessly to guide and protect us. I saw how they intervene in our lives, often so subtly that we attribute events to chance or luck. What particularly struck me was the way these beings interacted with our energetic fields. Every time we feel a sudden inspiration, a premonition, or even what we call intuition, it is often the result of their benevolent influence. As a scientist, I had always dismissed these concepts as mere neurological processes, but now I saw their true nature. Jesus then showed me something even more extraordinary, the structure of time. Contrary to our linear perception, I saw that time is actually a multifaceted dimension, where past, present, and future coexist. It was like observing an immense tapestry where each thread represented a possible timeline, and our choices determined which reality would manifest. This revelation helped me understand why prophecy is possible and how God can know the future without taking away our free will. I saw how our decisions create ripples through this temporal tapestry, affecting not only our future, but also that of others. While I observed these wonders, Jesus showed me something that made me tremble to the core of my being: the existence of other dimensions. Not merely the theoretical dimensions we study in physics, but tangible spiritual realms that coexist with our physical reality. I saw how these dimensions intersect with our world, creating what we sometimes call miracles. In these dimensions, I witnessed spiritual battles of which we are not even aware. Forces of light and darkness constantly clashing, influencing our thoughts, decisions, and daily reality. As an atheist scientist, I had always ridiculed the idea of spiritual warfare. Now, I saw that it was as real as gravity or electromagnetism. What profoundly disturbed me was the revelation regarding the nature of consciousness. Our consciousness is not simply the product of chemical reactions in our brain, as I had always taught. It is an extension of the divine essence, a spark of the universal consciousness that connects us directly to the Creator. I understood why no materialistic explanation of consciousness had ever been truly satisfying. Jesus then showed me how this consciousness survives after physical death. I saw souls leaving their bodies, some prepared and serene, others confused and frightened. What struck me was that each soul carried with it all its experiences, choices, loves, and regrets. Nothing was lost. Everything was recorded in this eternal spiritual matrix. I also saw how our actions on earth create what I can only describe as an energetic signature. Every act of kindness, every word of love, but also every negative thought or selfish action leaves an indelible mark in the fabric of the universe. This reality made me understand the paramount importance of our daily choices. The presence of Jesus then guided me toward a deeper understanding of divine love. It was not the romantic affection or familial warmth we know, but a fundamental cosmic force, more powerful than gravity, more essential than nuclear energy. It is this force that holds the universe together. At that moment, Jesus revealed something that completely upended my understanding of human suffering. I saw how every trial, every hardship we endure is part of a greater plan for our spiritual evolution. It is not that God wishes to see us suffer, but rather that these experiences act as a crucible to refine our souls. I saw people I had known, terminally ill patients I had encountered in my research, and I realized that their suffering was not in vain. Every moment of pain created opportunities for growth, not only for them, but for everyone around them. It was like witnessing a cosmic garden where even the darkest moments nourished spiritual growth. The divine presence then showed me the interconnection of all souls. I saw how our prayers, our positive thoughts, our love, create bridges of light between individuals. These connections transcend time and space. I understood why sometimes we think of someone just before they call us, or why we feel the pain of a loved one even from afar. What touched me most was the revelation about the nature of miraculous healing. As a scientist, I had always considered such accounts as mere superstitions or coincidences, but I saw how faith and prayer can literally reorganize the energetic structure of our bodies, creating the conditions necessary for healing that defies our current medical understanding. Jesus then showed me something even more extraordinary, the power of our words. Every word we speak creates vibrations that travel far beyond our physical dimension. I saw how a simple word of encouragement could trigger a cascade of positive events in someone's life, while a negative word could have destructive repercussions for generations. This revelation made me understand the vital importance of truth and integrity in our communication. Every lie, no matter how small, creates a distortion in the spiritual energy field, like a dissonant note in a cosmic symphony. As this extraordinary experience drew to a close, Jesus showed me one last thing that will remain forever etched in my soul, the ultimate purpose of our existence. I saw that we are not here merely to live, work, and die. Each of us has a unique role to play in the grand divine plan. I realized that my scientific quest, though it initially distanced me from faith, was part of that plan. Every discovery, every theory we develop, brings us a little closer to understanding divine creation. Science and spirituality are not enemies, but sisters dancing together in the grand symphony of the universe. Jesus showed me how every soul, before incarnating, chooses certain experiences and challenges for its spiritual development. These choices create what we call destiny, yet I saw that we always have the free will to decide how we react to these situations. It is in these moments of choice that our soul grows the most. As I sensed that my time in that transcendent state was drawing to a close, I was overwhelmed by a wave of unconditional love. I understood that, regardless of our mistakes, doubts, and fears, we are always loved beyond measure. This realization freed me from a burden I wasn't even aware of. Suddenly, I felt an attraction, as if my body was calling me. The presence of Jesus communicated one final thing to me, my mission. I had to return and share what I had seen, not to convert, but to inspire, to show that science and faith are not incompatible, but complementary in our quest for truth. In an instant, I found myself back in my body, gasping, surrounded by astonished doctors. 8 minutes and 12 seconds had passed, but for me, it was an eternity that forever changed my perception of reality. Since that day, my life has taken on a new meaning. I continue to teach physics, but with a transformed perspective. I now see every equation as a window into divine wisdom, every discovery as a step toward a deeper understanding of creation. I share this experience with you today, not to convince you, but to invite you to open your mind and heart. Whether you are a scientist, a believer, or a skeptic, I encourage you to explore beyond the limits of what you think you know. For truth, as I have discovered, is infinitely vaster and more beautiful than anything we can imagine. Do not be afraid to ask questions, to doubt, to explore. It is in this quest that we grow and evolve. And always remember that, regardless of your belief or non-belief, you are loved by a love that surpasses all human understanding. My journey from death to life, from atheism to faith, is not an end but a beginning. It is an invitation to each of you to look beyond the veil, to seek truth with an open heart and a curious mind. For, as I have learned, the greatest revelations often come from the most unexpected places. As I conclude this account, I leave you with this thought. Every day is an opportunity to discover, to love, to grow. May your journey, whatever it may be, lead you to a deeper understanding of yourself, of others, and of the wondrous universe in which we live. For in the end, we are all interconnected in this cosmic dance of creation, guided by a love that transcends all human understanding.